Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. Now, I want to have this question answered. Can Genie actually win the game for any new player in this game? Okay, so the thing is, of course, my Genie is with pretty good equipment. I'll say that her equipment is definitely out of reach for most new players. Just going by the stats alone, you're not going to be able to tell just how good her equipments are. But let me just give you a quick run through of how good her equipments are on the Ocean set. So first off, she has a lot of attack power here. She has good HP percentage, she has good speed, good HP, good attack. Well, she has a little bit of speed there as well. HP percentage and good attack power and some speed as well. I forgot to upgrade the speed over here. And over here we have defense percentage, attack percentage, and HP percentage. Basically just all the stats that she needs, right? HP percentage and attack percentage and a little bit of accuracy here. Now, I also have the Avatar set here with good attack percentage, good HP percentage, and some defense as well. And over here as well, I got some speed, HP, and attack. So the thing is, the part of this video is just to find out whether can she actually solo stuff, given how you can eventually just build her with various stats, right? You can build like HP percentage, attack percentage, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's go through all of her stuff once again, right? So her abilities, you can skip ahead if you've already seen this before. Double fire basically just inflicts taunt, that's about it. The attack will not crit. So you do not want to have any crit on her, you do not want to have any crit damage, it's a wasted stat. Her second skill, Simmer Flame. This is what her AI will prioritize all the time. So dispels all debuffs on herself and gains 1 stack of intense heat. But if she already has 3 stacks of intense heat, she will then gain Chef Zest. And what Chef Zest does is over here. And this is what intense heat does, which is more important. So every 20 attack gap between Genie and her target increases Genie's damage dealt by 1%. So it caps out at 150% in PvE, which means that the difference between your attack and the enemy's attack has to be at most 3000. Afterwards, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, it does increase the DPS afterwards, but it's not going to amplify your DPS further than that. Now, furthermore, heals when taking a hit, and the healing is 60% of your lost HP, which is whatever that she has at the start. She don't need to take the first turn. Then, you also deal true damage to attacker equals to 40% times the number of intense heat stacks to the attacker up to 3 stacks, which is 120%. And this also triggers only once per turn, so if you get hit by a multi-hit skill, you're only going to trigger 1 tick of true damage to the enemy. And furthermore, each intense heat stack also increases Genie's attack by another 10% up to 30%. So she has a lot of extra damage amplification in her skills and all her buffs that she has. Now, this is her third skill, Stir Fry Heat. Attacks one enemy 5 times, damage is up to 60% of her attack. Now, each hit steals 1 buff, and the last hit inflicts taunt for 3 turns and heals after attacking, healing 80% of her lost HP. And this skill, just like her first skill, will not crit as well. Now, she has an attack lead in Point Walk and Knockout, which is a little bit unfortunate. I don't feel like those are like the main places that she shines in. And as for the equipment of choice, like I said, the Ocean Avatar here for PvE content. For PvP, is probably going to be the Frost set. And let's take a look at her Ascensions and Resonances real quick before we start off the rest of the video, right? So she has 5 speed, she has 15% attack percentage, and she has 20% attack, 20% HP percentage, which is really nice for Ascensions. And as for Resonances, her R2, Simmer Flame, gives her an extra turn, which is very helpful because she goes straight into her third skill, but it's more useful at her R6, I think. Now, R4, when attacked by a critical hit, the damage you receive is reduced by 15%. And finally, at R6, her third skill essentially just increases her intense heat stacks, which is why her R2 is super important when used with her R6, so that she instantly gains 3 intense heat stacks at the start. Okay, so there are a few places where most new players are going to be more concerned about. Number 1 is going to be the story, number 2 is going to be Ritual Miracles, and number 3 is probably going to be like tower content. And apart from that, maybe not so much in other content, maybe PvP. But I just want to go through all the main content where new players will be struggling in. So like for example, we have the Purgatory Chapter 12 over here, Divinely Human. Let's take a look at whether we can solo this boss or not, because I think that's like the main thing, right? So I'm actually going to give myself an attack lead because she does not have a working attack lead right now, so I'm going to do it in the form of Tangxuan. So let's see whether we can 1v1 basically just solo this entire boss fight, which is like the hardest boss content in the story itself, right? So this is 12-16 Purgatory difficulty. Okay, so I skipped the first part because I don't think it's that interesting. Let's look at the boss itself. And one thing to take note of for Genie, right? She is essentially considered a Shimmer Esper. And why I say that is because her attacks would either miss or not miss. But the thing is, because she don't need to crit, so missing itself does not really do anything. Oh my god, we are blowing through this boss real quick. So missing itself does not really change anything about her DPS. The only reason why missing is bad for her is that she cannot apply taunts, or she will not do the elemental boon. That's about it. So in terms of her DPS output, she has up to an additional 200% damage amplification, which is a total of 3 times multiplier. that is when she has more than... I mean, okay, wait, I'm talking about PvP here. But if I'm talking about PvE, she has a 2.5 times multiplier. If I take into consideration the maximum attack difference between yourself and your target, that is when she has a 2.5 times multiplier, which is considered a critical hit in my opinion, right? That sounds a lot like you have an additional plus 100% crit damage in her kit, except that, like I said, she is kind of like a shimmer type as well, because it doesn't matter whether she miss or not, her damage output is always going to be the same. It's always going to be fixed base non-crit damage that gets amplified. So we did it. This is Purgatory 12-16. The boss done just like that. Now the next place that we're going to test her in is going to be Kronos, but we're not going to go for Kronos 16 because that one's going to be a little bit difficult. Okay, so the point of this video is just to showcase that she can solo stuff, but not solo everything. So if you want to do 16, she's not going to be like the solution. She's going to help out a lot, especially if you're struggling to ensure that you survive. So for the most part, I'm just going to show her in Kronos 13, and if you can solo Kronos 13 with a Genie, then you definitely have like a lot of value on your hands right now. Okay, and as I was talking about her DPS being sort of like a shimmer type DPS, that simply means that she is somewhat of a DPS Esper. So she's not really like a true fighter, she's more of a defender. She's kind of like a DPS Esper that do not need to worry about not critting, and she will never ever crit, which is also pretty good in some situations, especially against Ashley, for example. So she's a single target DPS Esper, and holy shit, we are really blowing this boss out of the water right now. So she's kind of like a single target, I know, I'm sorry, I just keep pausing and all that, but she's kind of like a single target DPS Esper with the potential to heal a lot of her own HP whenever she gets hit. So it's very hard to kill her, which is why she might be really good in PvE content. So like for example, Kronos, we are definitely able to tank this, right? We are doing a lot of damage to the boss, and at the same time, we are just surviving his attacks. Whenever he attacks us, we heal up. Even if you get stunned, the boss attacks us, the boss will still get damage as well. So yeah, I think right now we are doing like 7,000 damage whenever the boss attacks us. Right, 7,283, which is a lot of DPS considering that we don't need to do anything. And the boss is going to move so much anyway, right? Like, see, the boss gained AP, he took a turn, he attacked us again. And as such, we reflected some DPS. And even our third skill itself is doing quite a decent amount of damage. 32,000, which is a lot. Okay, nice. Done. So we effectively soloed this Kronos with Genie, and yes, I know I used Tang Xuan here, but Tang Xuan is just here for the extra attack. Now, next up we have APEP 13, and as you can see, I have not actually tested this out just yet, so same thing, I'm going to be using, okay, we can use a flow type, it's fine, because APEP is stronger against Leora, so I think it's going to be a little bit fair. Okay, so let's skip ahead to APEP itself. I don't feel like we are going to be able to handle APEP because of all the poison stacks that APEP has. So this is potentially an issue. Yeah, I think we're gonna get clapped really hard here. I suspect as much. But I'm actually very curious to see, like, when APEP attacks me, will that reduce the counter on APEP's passive over here, right? So he has 3 stacks, he attacks me, he's gonna get hit by the true damage, and that did not reduce the counter on his passive, which is very nice. Are we dead? Okay, yeah, okay, so thing is, for APEP, I don't think it's gonna be that possible. So I tested APEP again, and the reason is because of the many multiple hits that she has on her third skill, and that's the biggest issue. So she has a lot of poison stacks, therefore she's not going to be able to survive. That is probably not going to happen. So she's probably not going to be able to solo APEP. And the same for Fafnir as well, because she is going to get her ass frozen all the time. Now let's quickly do one run in Sonic Miracle, and let's see whether is she viable in soloing this content as well. I think this should be very straightforward. I think this is going to be very easy. Okay, it's definitely impossible to deal with the Flow Runner because this mid boss over here heals himself way too much. Okay, let's take a look at the Shimmerer instead. We can steal shields, that helps a lot. Okay, now onwards with the boss. The boss also drops a lot of shield if I remember correctly. Okay, yes, I was hoping to see that. Okay, so we did manage to steal the shield, and it's going to be a pain in the ass. It's going to be extremely difficult for you to solo this, but it is going to be possible to solo this just because we can steal the shield. But the thing is, there are other Espers who can do the same thing. So like Chloe, for example. Chloe is going to kill this boss so much faster than Ginny. Ginny is rather slow for this particular boss, but you know what? After all, I just want to test whether is it possible to solo stuff, and the answer is yes. So the goal is not to be able to blitz stuff super fast. The goal is just to be able to do things efficiently with like the fewest resources. So that means using just one single Esper. Okay, now the final place that we're going to test her in is going to be Infinity Tower first floor because this is probably as hard as it gets right now. Okay, so the thing is, we are not going to take all the debuffs here. We're going to actually remove the attack domain because this becomes very painful, especially when you're using an Esper like Genie who's just supposed to sit there and soak DPS. The more hits that she receives, the more damage she's going to receive because of that debuff. So we're going to play it safe. We're just going to remove it and see whether she can just simply solo this content. Nice, nice, nice. Very good. Okay, you know what? Let's just aim the Ophelia because she hurts. Oh, she's almost done. Alright, Ophelia is down. And I think right now we should aim like one of the Louis. Okay, nice. Good DPS. Now the Louis is probably going to use his third skill right now. Okay, not enough DPS. Okay, we got it. I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the boss fight. Why are they not taking true damage? Yeah, that was weird. Oh, because that's a pursuit attack. I see. We are able to take the hits, which is a good thing. So that means that we are probably going to be able to outlive all of their attacks, regardless of whether Abigail is here or not. I think. I mean, the Abigail did protect us a little bit with the defense buff, but for the most part, without the defense buff right now, and with the seer debuff on ourselves, we are still able to survive, which is yeah, it's definitely a really good sign. But I can definitely see this as a very massive RNG factor. But the thing is, we are still doing really... Oh my god. Oh my god, we nearly died. Okay. Yeah, definitely RNG involved. Either RNG or just better stats. Okay, that's actually insane. We effectively soloed the first floor of the Infinity Tower. Wow, that's actually crazy, dude. Ginny is doing a lot of... She's putting in a lot of work for PvE content at least. Now, I've already done the PvP showcases, so you guys already know like how good she can be. And like the earlier part of PvP, I think in like the late game side of PvP is going to be a lot more challenging. It's going to be a lot more difficult because there's going to be a lot of very, very powerful Espers like Gaius and all that who are going to nuke her down very easily. So that's it for this video. Ginny is definitely able to solo content, especially PvE content where new players are going to be finding more issues in. Like for example, in the ritual, like in Kronos, right? Kronos is going to be like the newbie ritual miracle boss. And we also have the Infinity Tower, which is also the like a better version of Temporal Tower. So it is possible to use her in Temporal Tower as well. But of course, it really depends on the different floors and whether or not they have disease. Or like, for example, they increase their DPS the more attacks that they take. For example, in like the Infinity Tower that we just did. But all in all, I do feel like she has some value in PvE content. It's not going to be so obvious, especially when you're in the end game, because you already can clear everything anyway, so you may not necessarily need her. But does that necessarily mean that if you're a new player, then you should get Genie? I think she does help out a lot, especially in the PvP side. So if you're a new player and you just want to win certain PvP runs, like Point War for example, using her is going to help you out a lot. And if you're trying to beat like holo battles for example, she's also going to be extremely useful in that content. But maybe more of that in the future. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Very Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.